So in this video, I'm going to break down some life lessons I've learned, and hopefully you guys can benefit from them. The first one is you should think in probabilities and not possibilities. What do I mean by that? When people go through their day-to-day life and also when they're making decisions, they tend to make decisions based on what is possible. But if you think about it, anything is actually possible. You can survive a plane crash, it's possible. You can smoke cigarettes every single day and by the time you're 100, you get no cancer. It's possible. But is it probable? That's what you should be asking yourself. When you're about to make a decision, you should think, what's the most probable outcome based on the action I'm about to take? That's how I want you guys to think about life. When you think about life in probabilities, not possibilities, you end up making very informed and good decisions. For example, the age-old question, if I want to get into banking and finance, what the F should I study? This question, I get it, but I get asked this question every freaking day. And it's quite straightforward and easy. If you want to become a lawyer, you freaking study law because that will increase your chances of becoming a lawyer. Yes, you can study economics, history, and become a lawyer, but what's the best decision based on the probabilities? It's to freaking study law. Think about life the same. Possibilities and probabilities is also linked to the following concepts: an exception to the rule and what happens in general. People don't like generalizations, but it's quite low IQ not to like and understand generalizations. In general, a university student will be smarter than someone doing A-levels or doing GCSEs. That's true. That doesn't mean that every single university student is smarter than every single GCSE student. That's not the case. Not every single one. But on the balance of probabilities, if you were to randomly sample the population and give them a test, obviously the ones in universities will get a higher score more times than not than someone in GCSEs. Another example, on average, men are stronger than women. Or let's not say stronger because I don't get cancelled. On average, it's true. It doesn't mean that every single man is stronger than every single woman. The next life lesson I've learned is to put away the idea that I'll start something when this happens. I'll start a YouTube channel when I get a new job. I'll do this when this happens. I'll do this when that happens. If a lot of your decisions are based on the outcome of a different decision that are actually not really linked, they put off starting a YouTube channel due to fear, and it's literally the worst thing you can do. You don't want to live your life having regrets. You don't want to be 80, 90 thinking, what if I started a YouTube channel? What if I did this? What if I did that? What if I decided to change my life and start doing kickboxing? What if I took on that cooking class? What if I learned how to speak German? The what ifs will literally make you feel miserable. And that's why I've moved away from saying, I'll do this when this happens. Just freaking do it today. The best time to start something is freaking today. Right now is the best time to start whatever you're putting up, because time only goes. It doesn't come back. The next life lesson, which is more or less a quote from Jordan Peterson: in order to think, you have to risk being offensive. It's a very simple and straightforward quote. I'll say it again. In order to think, you have to risk being offensive. For critical thinking to take place, you need to be able to really analyze your ideas, and sometimes what you're thinking about or the conclusion you're coming to might offend someone. And if you care about not trying to offend someone, then you're not able to think very freely. And that's where we find ourselves now in society. You can't think certain stuff, you can't say this, you can't say that. So more or less now, there's an accepted dogma. If you don't say this and you say something else, you risk being cancelled. But in order to think, you must risk being offensive. I'm Nigerian, and let's say for example, I go to Cameroon for a trip, and I want to learn about Cameroon culture. For me to understand that culture, I need to ask questions, and I have to risk the fact that the questions I'm asking might offend the other person. In Cameroon, for example, maybe they do something I deem as weird. For me to fully understand why they're doing what they're doing, I have to ask them, hey, why are you guys doing that? And it might offend the person, but at least now I'm able to get a reason. But currently now in society, you can't even ask, why do you think that? You can't even ask, how did you come to that conclusion? Because we're being forced to accept ideas just how they are and not question anything. I warn you guys that anytime you guys are given information from me, from anyone on YouTube, from anyone in your class, uni, work, really look at the information and say to yourself, does this make sense? And if based on what you're analyzing, it doesn't make sense, in order for you to think and get the answer you want, you might have to risk being offensive. This is the last one I'll touch on. And I've talked about this before in some previous videos. Ditch the freaking idea of work-life balance. It doesn't exist. And it's something you have to eventually realize. Because when you're growing up, when you're watching the news, there's always work-life balance. Try and do 50-50 work, play, work hard, play hard. We have all of these sayings. Work hard, play hard. Like, I hate that saying because it doesn't make sense. But in practice, does it hold up? I think if you're in your 20s, 30s, work-life balance shouldn't exist. Why do you need the balance? Because balance implies a sort of 50-50. That's what balance means. It means 50-50. It means you work for 6 hours, you play for 6 hours. Ditch that idea. Especially if you're in your 20s. Just ditch the freaking idea. You should work, reset. That's how it should go. Like, why do you really need a balance? Like, if you don't feel tired, freaking work. On the weekends, it's seen as a day where you're meant to relax. Like, even if you don't feel like relaxing because it's Saturday, Sunday, you should relax. F that. If you're not tired on Saturday, open your computer and freaking work. On Saturdays, I'm not tired, I work. Sundays, I'm not tired, I work. I see the whole week as more or less the same, give or take. Yes, Saturday and Sunday are weekends, but in my mind, if I don't feel tired, I'm gonna freaking work. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you found that somewhat useful, and I'll see you in the next one.